Right, well here we are again in the studio. Not quite so cold this time, but today's effort is going to be another in the series that I'm doing on how I go about making some of my weirdo pots, the accents pots, the primitives as I call them. I think the Japanese call them nanbans, but I don't go in for Japanese terms. So we're going to do a variation this time, not just using coils to build up the walls, but using a combination of coiling and also chunks of clay. I've got some coils ready made here, okay, and I've got a lump of clay here which I've just dug out of my reclaim box, so nothing goes to waste. I've cut a circle out to make things a little quicker so we don't take too much time. But what I should say is that in making these pots, I'm doing it primarily to demonstrate some of the techniques that I use, and I'm not being overly concerned about the final result. It's just really to show you how to go about making these things if you wish to pursue these ideas. But better still, it would be nice if you can also take them on board and then develop them and add your own ideas into it as well. So we've got a lump of clay here which we've rolled out, and I've cut it into a circle. So what I'm going to do now is just get some of this lot here and just make some rough walls. This is very, very soft. It might be too soft. Wow. Okay. So I'm just going to get some of this and put it along here, so, and wow, it really is soft. This is because I put a lot of water in the reclaim bucket. Yeah, if it's not going to work, you can see how I like, as I've said so many times, to let the clay speak for itself. So we're not overly concerned about how rough and ready it is. Alright, that's quite interesting. Just that, alright. So now what we'll do, we'll just start building a bit of wall with some clay coils. And we'll put those down in the usual way. Oof. Round and round the merry-go-round. Here we go. It's, as I said again so many times, it's immensely relaxing working with clay. Clay is a lovely medium. It's soft and plastic and can take an awful lot of stick. There, I've just doubled back on itself, and we will now, whoops, carry on in the opposite direction. This bit fell down, so I'm not worried about it being slightly distorted. It all contributes to the freedom that I really enjoy in letting the clay do its own thing. I mean, this is an imposition what I'm doing at the moment, playing with the walls, and you see the difference between the completely free lumps of clay, and then on the other hand I've got this stuff here which is contrived because it's gone through a mechanical process, and we will have to try to what am I going to say, we'll have to try to smooth to distort it in a moment. I'm just building the walls up. I don't normally do it this way. Usually I do one wall at a time and mix the coils together. But this time I'm just going to try and do them all together in one go. Right, I'll do a little bit of merging now. First of all, we'll try and lift the base, which I hope isn't going to be too hard, because I used a different clay density for the base. Pulling it right up and in, right up and in. Yeah, I've got my finger up behind to stop the wall being pushed in as I lift this up. When we talk about distortion, but there's distortion and distortion. And I want my distortion to be contrived distortion, calculated distortion. Yes, we're still in the middle of January, and heating in my studio is minimal, but it's surprising how warm one gets with this activity and the fact that one having to use one's muscles. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just go underneath that a bit to give it a little bit of lift. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, and now I'm just going to merge the inside. So we will, cool, this is really, I'm going to have to use the paint stripper electric blower fan in a moment on this wall just to stiffen it up, because it's a lot softer than the coils. So you notice I'm going down at more or less a 45-degree angle here. Hand building is, I find it very satisfying. Now you see I'm going the opposite way. So we've got a sort of herringbone texture. This way you get a slightly better bonding. But yes, it's very satisfying working with clay. It can be manipulated into so many different ways. And we'll get this side down there, merge that with that, and now we will just lift those together. My thumb is lifting a bit from the lower down up. Okay, so that's that, and I'm going to go and join these up now. You've seen this done so many times, so I'm going to speed through it as fast as I can. You know, feel free to leave any questions or queries you may have about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it below the sections underneath each video clip. Okay, I don't know whether I've used the right term there, but I'm sure you'll understand what I'm getting at. Okay, a bit of a hole here, so I'm just going to fill that up. Boom. Good enough. Boom. Right, I think I will go up one more coil. So we'll take that over here, bring it up there. So you can see how how very easy it is to do this. Oh, a bit short. I'll just go quickly cut another coil. There we go, that didn't take any time, so merge that in. And this is a nice height now. And yeah, okay. And you can see, if you look at the front, the difference between this and this over here. Okay, so now I'm just going to merge this top coil not really taking any sort of trouble to get everything smooth at this stage. The important thing is to get the union well joined between the two coils, because as you've seen, I don't use slurry or scratching in this instance. I do so with some of my other pots when I put feet on the pots, but not here. Okay, so right now I'll do the outer side, and here I use a more vertical stroke, up and down, down and up, whereas on the inside ones I tend to use the herringbone and alternate the angles this way and that way. Don't ask me why. So little tools that I've adapted and made for myself. Alright, so I'm going to use this one here in the first instance, just to go around the bottom there. Just merging it. Yeah, da 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 dum. Da da dee 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 da. Da da dee da da dum. Dee dee da dum. There we go, that's gone round there. And now I am going to change to this one, I think, and I'll just go around and watch what I do, because I'm going to have some fun. There we go. I'll use the third one now here. Creating a different sort of texture. All these little silly things are just techniques of how to introduce different sorts of textures into your design, just to make things a little bit more interesting. If you've got entirely plain walls, unless you're making very formal pots like some of the pots that one would throw on a wheel, and some of the slab pots where you have very smooth surfaces, it doesn't matter. But when you're doing these hand-built pots and you want to show some of the hand-building techniques and blemishes, it's important then, I think, that you don't have the surfaces too smooth and bland. Right, so now having done all of this, I'm just going to use my hand and just, oh hang on, before I do that, let's cut ourselves a little hole. And you know something I didn't do? I didn't put my name on the underneath, as I usually do. Right, so that's that. And now we'll just smooth this rough surface back with my finger. That's fine. And what I'm going to do here now, I'm just going to get a few bits of clay and just, this is too soft. See if I can't just, oh golly, come on, break up. Let's get some of these bits broken. They're all sticking to my fingers. Oh, lovely jubbly. Oh, it's ridiculous. Come on, guys. Don't be blind. Break up. Break. Come on. I'm just letting these drop randomly. It doesn't matter where. Different shapes, different sizes. Again, all to contribute to the hand building primitive qualities of an ancient type of pot. Right. Alright, so now what I do with that lot, we'll get a tool and we'll just try and wipe them in a bit. Now if we take a closer look, you can see how delicious, how lovely these things are. And then we go on this side here, and I'm just going to lightly, very, very lightly, smooth away some of this, but not smooth it, just leaving some of the linear texture behind, but at the same time just strengthening the wool by smoothing it a bit like this. Okay. There we go, dead easy. Anybody can do this. And of course, when these pots are finished and fired, I'll go through the glazing process, and with these primitives I invariably glaze them with my signature gunmetal red. Now, having done the inside, I'm now going to switch to the outside, and in actual fact, just check what I've got. It's not too bad. I'll just take some of the lumpiness out of it. And then just you see these little lumps, just very lightly, just take them out. But I quite like that very almost childlike construction. All right. And now we'll resort to one of my handmade texture makers, which I think I've shown you in an earlier video. One of these things that I've got, okay? So we've got all sorts. I just want to get one of my favourites. This one's quite a useful one, not that one. Not bad. I think I'll use this one, or maybe a combination of 2 or 3. Yeah. Put these back, get a shot of that, and get my wax. Now, in here I've got a sponge, and I've squirted some WD-40 oil in there. And the reason for that is so that when I stick these things in, okay, and make them oily, when I create the texture, it's not going to stick, hopefully, to the texture maker. So we just go like this. Notice I'm turning this in different ways as I go along. And you'll notice too that in doing this, it's also created a nice little lip on the inside, an overhang, and probably a little bit on the outside as well. And this is quite useful because it keeps the soil in. What I won't be doing with this pot, unfortunately, because it's just too soft to handle and lift up, is because of this part. What I won't be doing is putting the feet on immediately. I might have to leave it for an hour or so, but there you are. Now let's check the angles. These can be pulled out just a little bit. Yeah, quite pleased with that. There, you can see the difference in textures and the different combination of the very rough and the slightly more smooth. But you see what I meant when I said earlier how the coils were very contrived because they'd gone through a mechanical device to produce them. To be honest with you guys, I really, when doing this kind of pot, I really should have rolled the coils out by hand. That way there would have been slight irregularities in them to begin with. But for the sake of the video, to make it a little bit shorter, I use the extruder to create my coils. Alright, but you can see how that mechanical form of the circular coil like this is altered completely and made into much more hand-built quality. Right, I think that's probably as much as I need to show you for the time being on this one. You've seen me put feet on before, so it doesn't really matter that I don't have any feet on it at the moment. So I'm going to more or less leave it at this, but remember these pots are really in this series of primitive pots just to show you how I go about creating certain building processes and how I generate some of the textures. I can make all sorts of variations on textures, which I might actually do a video shortly on how I produce different types of texture. And I hope these videos are going to be of some use and some help to you. Yes, and as I said, and I have said so many times before, please be kind enough to like, share, and also to subscribe. And I think I'll just say farewell, goodbye, and we'll hopefully see you again soon.